Leave right now, my mother-in-law commanded. Sure, I'll go, I responded. I'll just take all my things with me. Just get out, my father-in-law chimed in, his tone cold and distant. My in-laws had always sided with my husband. I had never blamed him for their behavior, even though I had been in situations with them before. The movers finished loading up and the truck drove away. After they left, I got into my car. What's happening? My husband asked, looking confused. I told your parents everything, I answered, and his voice trembled. What? He said, stunned. Rhett couldn't speak and collapsed to his knees. As I drove off, I glanced at him through the rearview mirror. I'm Amy, 31 years old, working in an office. My husband, Rhett, and I started as co-workers at the same company. He was 3 years younger than me, and I mentored him when he first joined. That's how we met. At first, I didn't think of him romantically because I was busy teaching him. But once he found his footing, we grew closer, and about 5 years after he joined, he found a new job and confessed his feelings. I've been in love with you for a long time, Amy, he admitted, his eyes full of sincerity. I was thrilled because I had feelings for him too, and I was sad that we'd be parting ways. I feel the same way, Rhett, I replied, smiling. I said yes, and we started dating. Things went smoothly. We had dinner dates after work and enjoyed our time together on weekends. After a year of dating, Rhett proposed. When I first met you, Amy, I knew you were the one. Even after a year of being together, my feelings for you haven't changed. I need you in my life. Will you marry me? He asked, full of hope. His proposal was filled with youthful energy, and I was touched. Naturally, I accepted, and we got married. We visited our parents, introduced them to each other, and had a wedding. I thought my married life would be full of happiness. At first, things were great. Rhett and I shared household chores and spent quality time together on our days off, enjoying movies, shopping, and drives. About 6 months into our marriage, we decided to move because our apartment was starting to feel cramped. We thought ahead to when we'd have children, so we searched for a bigger place. We found one we both liked. It was pricier, but we were happy with the decision. When we finally moved in, it felt like a dream. The kitchen was integrated, making cooking enjoyable every day. Each room was spacious, and there were plenty of areas to relax. Rhett seemed content, and every day was full of happiness. But soon, my happiness began to fade. One day, my in-laws came to visit our new home, and they were amazed by it. Wow, it's beautiful. The rooms are so spacious. My mother-in-law exclaimed. It really is a nice place, right? Rhett replied proudly. I was pleased they liked it, but not long after, Rhett received a message from his parents. Huh? They want to move in with us? He asked, surprised. I was stunned when I heard that. We'd only been married for just over half a year, and we had only just moved into this house. I couldn't imagine us all living together in such a short time. Surely Rhett would turn them down. Well, I'll ask Amy if she's okay with it, he said, looking at me expectantly. What's going on? I couldn't believe it. It seemed obvious I'd say no. Why wasn't he saying no himself? After he finished the call, I asked him about it. What's the deal? I inquired. It's my parents. They want to live here, he replied. What? They want to live here, not at their own house? I asked, confused. Yeah, Rhett nodded. Their house is getting old and needs a lot of repairs. They think it's cheaper to live with us than pay for repairs. My frustration grew. What? Isn't this just about their convenience? If they were elderly or needed care, I'd understand, but this was purely about them wanting a nicer home without paying for it. I don't agree with this, I said firmly. Huh? Why not? Rhett asked, confused. We've only been married for half a year. I don't think it's time to live together with your parents yet, I replied. Rhett looked upset. You heard what I said. My parents are struggling with repairs. It'll cost too much, he argued. I get that, I responded, but I still think they should handle their own problems, whether they repair the house, sell it, or renovate it. But Rhett wasn't hearing me. He got angry. I didn't know you were so heartless, Amy. Isn't it normal for a wife to help her husband's parents when they're in need? He asked, sounding hurt. Are you serious? I responded. If my parents wanted to live here, would you let them? I think it's fine, he replied defensively. What? I was stunned. Well, if your parents were in trouble, I wouldn't turn them away, he said. I wasn't sure if he truly meant it or if he was just trying to make me look bad. We left it at that, but I made up my mind to refuse if he brought it up again. A few days later, however, my in-laws showed up at our house with large bags in tow. "Oh, this is heavy," my father-in-law muttered. "We must be getting older," my mother-in-law added. "You must be exhausted," Rhett said. "Mom, Dad, here's your room." "And that's Dad's," Rhett said casually. I was frozen for a moment, completely baffled. I pulled Rhett aside. "What's going on?" I demanded. "We're moving in with my parents," he said, sounding nonchalant. I said no. I replied, shocked. "I can't leave them in a tough spot. I'm the one in charge of this house. We're living with them now, and you have to accept it," Rhett said firmly. I was forced to accept living with my in-laws. It was something I never expected. They started unloading their luggage and immediately began rearranging things, tossing my belongings aside. "Don't just throw my stuff around," I protested. "It's your fault for not organizing it," my mother-in-law snapped. "We're living here now, so you better keep it tidy." I was furious. This wasn't something I agreed to, and yet here I was being treated like a servant. My in-laws gave me orders like I was their maid. "I'm tired from unpacking. Can you go grab some drinks?" my father-in-law asked. "I'll have some too," my mother-in-law added. "This is what a wife should do without being told," she concluded. They were treating me as though I was there to serve them. I couldn't stand it. They had clearly been told by Rhett that I wasn't happy with the arrangement, and that made them angry with me. But I had every right to be upset. It wasn't normal to force someone to live together without their consent. In the end, I realized I was the one who would be leaving the home we'd chosen together, and that made me even angrier. I felt like I was losing control, so I decided it was time to stand up for myself. Even though I didn't want to, I ended up living with my in-laws under one roof. They had no boundaries and did whatever they pleased. They treated the food in the fridge as their own, so I would often find myself unable to cook what I had planned and had to improvise last minute. When it was just the two of us, the house stayed pretty tidy because we weren't around much during the day, and we'd clean up on our days off. But after my in-laws moved in, the house quickly became a mess. They were home all day, yet they couldn't be bothered to help clean and instead expected me to do everything. "Housework is the wife's responsibility. Why do we have to clean?" my mother-in-law would say, dumping everything onto me. No matter how much I objected, it was clear that I was seen as the housekeeper. But I wasn't going to play along, so I only did the bare minimum, relying on the robot vacuum. They complained constantly, but I ignored them and only cleaned the rooms I actually used. "You're really useless. I feel sorry for Rhett," they'd say, angry at me. Even my husband joined in, calling me an unfit wife. I started questioning if I had made a mistake marrying him, but something started to bother me even more than my in-laws' behavior. My husband was suddenly coming home late, claiming it was work. He didn't look tired though, and I noticed a strange soap scent on him. My gut told me something wasn't right, so I hired a detective. Sure enough, he was having an affair with a younger woman who worked at a hostess club. I couldn't believe it, but on the bright side, I knew this gave me leverage for a divorce. So I hired a lawyer and started preparing. Meanwhile, my in-laws continued their carefree lifestyle. My father-in-law, already retired, went golfing every day, and my mother-in-law had tea parties with her friends, buying expensive designer clothes for the occasions. I didn't really understand their spending habits, but it wasn't my place to say anything. I found a new place to live, and after talking with my lawyer, I was ready to go ahead with the divorce. I just needed to confront my husband with the divorce papers. But before I could do that, he left for a business trip. I was suspicious, but I decided to wait for him to come back. That night, however, something unexpected happened. I was taking a bath when I came out to the living room to grab a drink, and my in-laws were there, glaring at me. They had found the divorce papers on the table. "What is this?" my mother-in-law shouted. "Did you come into my room without asking me?" I asked, more upset about the invasion of my privacy than the discovery of the papers. "Doesn't matter," my father-in-law snapped. "It matters to me," I said, irritated. "Why are the divorce papers here?" My mother-in-law, furious, asked, "Why did you prepare divorce papers?" I finally decided to tell them the truth. "Your son is having an affair, and that's why I'm divorcing him." My in-laws exchanged glances, and then my father-in-law sneered. "So you got dumped?" A younger girl will be my son's wife. Doesn't that sound better? He mocked. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. They actually seemed pleased by my discomfort. Then my mother-in-law chimed in. Leave now. Of course I'll leave, but I need to arrange for a moving company. I'll take all my things with me. I responded coldly. Your stuff is just a nuisance. It'd be better if you left before our son comes back, my father-in-law barked. I was done with their behavior and my husband's betrayal, so I called the movers. They could come in 2 days, so I set it up. My new place was already secured, so I was ready to go. When I told my in-laws I'd be leaving in 2 days, they suggested going on a hot spring trip so I could move without bothering them. I didn't mind, it made things easier for me. The movers arrived, packed up everything, and left. Just as I was about to drive away, my husband returned home. Where are you going? He asked, confused. To the new place, I replied calmly. What? What do you mean? He asked, panicked. I've left the divorce papers on your desk in the living room, I said. What? What are you talking about? He stammered. I'm divorcing you because of your affair, I said firmly. He looked shocked. Wait, let's talk about this, he pleaded. No. From now on, I'll only talk to you through my lawyer, I responded. I've already told your parents everything. They were happy when I told them about your affair and told me to leave immediately. By the way, I've been paying more than half the rent, and now I'm leaving. You'll have to cover the rent by yourself. And I'm claiming a divorce settlement, I said, looking him in the eye. That's, he started to say, but I didn't give him a chance to finish. I started the car and drove off, watching him collapse to his knees in the rearview mirror. Later, I got a call from my in-laws. Why is there no furniture or appliances left? My father-in-law shouted. I told you, didn't I? I'm taking all my belongings. The furniture and appliances in that house were bought by me, so of course I'm taking them with me, I replied, satisfied. What? That's not true. My mother-in-law protested. Yes, it is. I make more money than Rhett does, I said confidently. What? They both gasped. Apparently, they didn't know about my financial situation, and they were shocked. Oh, and tell your son about the rent situation. I don't think you'll be able to live for free anymore, I added. Please come back. We don't want this. My mother-in-law begged. Our house didn't sell for much, and we don't have savings, she tried to reason. Well, that's what happens when you spend money recklessly, but that's none of my concern. I'll handle the divorce through my lawyer, I said firmly before hanging up and blocking their numbers. I continued the divorce process with my lawyer and even demanded a settlement from the woman my husband had an affair with. In the end, they each had to pay me $2,000. My ex-husband ended up canceling the contract for the new place because he couldn't afford it, and the income I had been contributing to the household was gone. I heard he's now living in a cramped apartment with his family, dealing with the clutter of his father's golf clubs and his mother's designer clothes. My in-laws, meanwhile, are borrowing money left and right and spending recklessly, making life difficult for themselves. I received a message from my ex-husband asking for help, but I ignored it. If he thinks I'm going to help him, he's fooling himself. On the other hand, I'm doing well. I live in a comfortable one-room apartment now and have a steady job. I'll continue to focus on my career and aim for a promotion and a raise. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and leave a comment. See you next time.